Hi, I'm Richard Sawada, Director of the Revelation Perth International Film Festival. And look, COVID caught us. So we're in lockdown right at the moment. But look, the other day I spoke to the director of what was to be our opening night film, Cooper Raiff, from Pittsburgh. And here it is. And before we start, I'd really like to thank Edith Cowan University, ECU, who are presenting these online talks and panels and such that we'll be doing until we can get up and running. And I hope you enjoy it. I really enjoyed talking to him. He was really fantastic. He's the writer, star, producer, editor, and director of Freshman Year, which in the United States, actually, when it came out, it was called Shithouse. I was going to ask him about that, but it didn't quite happen, like a lot of things. But look, I hope you enjoy the talk. It was really fantastic. He was a genuinely giving and a very open guy. So thanks to Cooper, thanks to you, and thanks to Edith Cowan University. Bye for now.
Inspired by the work of Edith Cowan, we set out in 1991 to transform lives through education and research, giving our students the tools they need to take on the world. We've come a long way in our 30 years, growing into a modern, vibrant university and accomplishing some pretty incredible things. We've earned a spot in the top 100 young universities worldwide, with our teaching quality consistently ranked among the best in Australia. Our campuses have world-class facilities for teaching and research, with great places to study and relax. And the Western Australian Academy of Performing Arts at ECU is one of the most celebrated performing arts academies in the world. We pride ourselves on our forward thinking, delivering up-to-date theory and skills to tackle the problems of tomorrow. And with the announcement of the new ECU City Campus, our future looks brighter than ever.
A more complex sound still is white noise.
Well, hello everyone. I'm Richard Sawada, the director of the Revelation Perth International Film Festival. It's really great to have you all here. And it's really fantastic to have the writer, director, producer, editor of our
Yes.
opening night, yeah, our opening night film, and we'll also be screening during the festival, Freshman Year, with Cooper Raiff, talking to us from Pittsburgh in the United States. So welcome, Cooper.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me.
Look, it's great. It's great to have you here. I love the film. I think it's, when it came across our desks, it's literally, in the title, freshman year. I thought, oh man, this is just so fresh. It's so clean and really so streamlined and aerodynamic, I guess, in its structure because it's so compact. But maybe to start off, maybe you might want to outline your involvement in the screen industry and what brought you to the point of freshman year.
Yeah, well, I didn't have much experience at all, really. I made the movie what what would have been my like fourth year of college. I dropped out to make the movie, so I didn't have much experience. I made like a little short film my sophomore year of college, and then this movie freshman year was basically that little small movie made into a bigger thing. But it was my first time. It was my first feature film directing. It was my first time writing. It was my first time acting and editing and all that. So I was a newbie.
Well, were you studying film, or did you drop out of medicine or law or?
No, no, I was
Right.
studying. Well, it's funny. You could say I was studying film. I was studying media arts and culture and like psychology. Actually, I hadn't declared a major because the school I went to was a liberal arts school where they let you take all these different classes, and then by the third year you had to declare a major. And I dropped out before I declared,
Yeah.
so I could have been media arts and culture. I could have been psychology. I was taking some science classes. I was like all over the place. But film, I've never really taken an actual intro to film class, so the learning curve was ginormous.
So what was the inspiration then? What made you go, I'm over this and I'm going over here now without, with no background in it or anything?
I was really into like acting and theater in high school, and then my senior year, I've always been into writing, but I never thought I was a good writer at all, and I still don't. But my senior year of high school, I started really writing a lot, and then in college, I was writing, and I had always wanted to see my writing realized on camera, but I never ever wanted to be a director, and I never like wanted to actually like make a movie. But then at some point, really my sophomore year, I didn't have spring break plans, and my two friends didn't either. So I thought like maybe us three can kind of make the movie together. And I didn't at all see myself as like I'm going to direct this movie. I just was like I wrote this script and I want to make it with my friends. And so that movie was kind of like my first time directing, I guess. So I've always been into movies, and I've always like wanted to be a part of making a movie, but I never wanted to be like the leader. And then I just realized at some point that no one wanted to like direct my college love story, so I had to do it.
So with that and getting together with some friends and giving it a crack, when you look back at that short film, what was the short film called, by the way?
It's called Madeline and Cooper.
Madeline and Cooper. And when you look
Yes.
back at that short film, is it something that you look back at and go, "What the fuck was I doing?" Or is it it's something else to you?
Well, it's really funny is I love it so much. And maybe that's psycho to say because I know a lot of people are the exact opposite. But it was basically I going back, I wanted to make something. I wanted to write something for that spring break, and um, we were on a college campus, so I knew I wanted to make it about college because that was going to be the easiest thing. Like I knew we could film in our dorm rooms and that sort of thing. But the movie, like if you could characterize it, it was very slow and it was very detailed. And it was like I don't know if you know like Kelly Reichardt's movies,
Yeah, of
but
course.
like
We've shown her movies many times. Yeah.
yeah, very like she loves routine, and she's usually going back in time to watch people do their daily lives like in really interesting moments in time. But for me, it was just like going to college, what are you doing when you wake up, like where are you studying in the library and that sort of thing. And we did the movie for literally $0 because we could like we kind of stole equipment from our campus, and then we could film anywhere we wanted because no one was on campus because it was spring break and everyone had spring break plans. And so I could go in and kind of go through my whole routine and go through my girlfriend at the time, Madeline, her whole routine. And the movie was about these two very different lives happening at college. One's a freshman, one's a sophomore. It's very much like freshman year, um, but it was very slow and like really cared about the details. And there weren't that many scenes with other characters because it was just me and Madeline in the movie. But Yeah, what was the question?
Oh,
Does that answer?
when you look at that short film, you know.
Oh, right. No, I love it because I love Kelly Reichardt's movies, and I love like when things are so specific and you really get to know two people, um, and I love Freshman Year too. But when you're making a movie and you think that more people are going to see it, and more people were helping me make it, so I wanted it to be somewhat entertaining.
Yeah,
But yeah,
go on. Sorry.
no, that's it. That's it.
Look, I get what you're saying about Kelly Reichardt. Like, I think I showed River of Grass, which I think was her first
Yes,
film.
yes,
Such a
yeah.
beautiful, poetic, and kind of slow movie, but like what you're saying, lots and lots of detail, and you know, lots of poetic things about normal things and everyday things, which is really very beautiful to look at.
Yeah, she's really patiently like cracking away at things, and I think Madeline Cooper had the same themes that Freshman Year has, um, and I think in a lot of ways sometimes it did a better job of showing it, just because it had the time to get there, really, and like the patience to kind of like hammer home something. Um, Whereas when I was making Freshman Year, I was really concerned with like scene to scene, and ultimately getting at what I wanted to say. But yeah, when you don't have the restraints of like, oh, I know I'm making this for $0, I can do literally whatever I want. But yeah.
So with freshman year, moving from freshman year to the short, well, what was the time difference between completing the short film and kicking off freshman year?
I think it was probably I finished filming the end of spring break, and then I took because I was still going to school, so I took like all summer to edit it, and I had like a job, and I was like, so it took me a long time to edit that. So I finished probably at the beginning of the next school year, and then I dropped out after that semester. So and then I was filming freshman year the next summer. So it was about like a year in between, I'd say.
Right. And what did you with freshman year, when you went into making the film, what did you take with you from the short film? Was there like just a lot of the same heart and a lot of the, stylistically the same, or did you just like kind of basically wipe the slate clean and go, okay, we're something new here?
The characters and the story, really the themes. Like I wanted to explore like the pain of leaving home and growing up, and like these two very, very different characters, and the way that they were raised, brought up very differently in very different homes, and like trying to live under this different roof, and saying goodbye to certain things and letting go of certain things and grabbing on to other things. Like that's what it was always about. But like stylistically, we didn't have a tripod. So, and we were booming each other literally in the scenes, because it was just 3 people filming that spring break movie. So stylistically, and there weren't, what are they called? What are those things called? There's some dots because the camera it was an old camera. What are those pixels? Dead pixels. So there's like 12 dead pixels in the spring break movie, and we didn't have a tripod, so it was very, very shaky because it just had to be.
Yeah.
And lots of like close framing because we had a boom underneath the frame. So stylistically, that's the biggest change, and it's so beautiful because the DP that worked on freshman year, Rachel Klein, is amazing, and she's a photographer, and like the shots are beautifully composed, and she loves locked off shots, and I was so excited for it to look to like not get dizzy while we were watching it, because my friend Will, bless his heart, was like working so hard and doing it all for like nothing really, just like because he's a good friend, but he was like so tired shooting that so it was great that every shot in freshman year you could really see the characters. It's great.
Well, I'm going to ask you about the photography in just a little while, but just in terms of like the production itself, like you are the star of the movie, you are one of the producers of the movie, you're the director of the movie, and you're one of 2 editors in the movie, of the movie, according to IMDb. So, was that a conscious insertion into the film, or for you, or did you think, okay, I want to do all this stuff, I want to learn this stuff, or was it just like, yeah, look, you know, let's see what happens.
No, it was a mix of, so one, it was all to like save money, but two, you just don't think about, like, it was such a small movie that it would have been like, it was so annoying doing the credits because it's such a small homemade movie that obviously I was going to credit everyone, so I like wanted to do credits, but like technically I did those things. Like I didn't even put, so in the credits I don't have a producer credit because I was like, I cannot see my name another time. Like on IMDb it's like it's there, but like of course I produced it. Like no one, who else was gonna like produce this kid's like college love story? So like it just felt like, duh, I'm the editor because I don't have money to pay. Like I was paid $0 on this movie, of course, but like, and we just genuinely didn't have enough money to, we had an editor come in like who was amazing and like the nicest person in the world, but like she wasn't going to do the whole movie for free, you know? And so she came in and helped and was awesome. And just like for acting, I mean, I do love acting and I always wanted to act. But it was just always, it was always so collapsed. Like I didn't set out to like, I'm going to act in this movie, I'm going to direct this movie, I'm going to write this movie. It was the same thing as the short that I made over spring break. It was just like, I have to make this movie, and how am I going to actually get this thing going and happening? And when you say, I think a part of it too is like when you say, oh, we have the writer, we have the director, we have the, sorry, my battery keeps, can you see me?
Yeah,
But what I was saying is like, when you say we have a director and we have a lead and we have the editor already, like people are like, all right, it's getting somewhere, and it's just all me. But like people think it's further along, and it is, because someone is committed to doing those things, so it feels like a more fully realized thing that could actually happen. So yeah.
well, that sounds like a viable strategy. Well, while we're on the, well, it obviously was a viable strategy because the film was great. But while we're talking about that kind of thing and the story and that sort of thing, maybe you just might want to thumbnail the story of the film for the viewers. Just give us a bit of a snapshot of what it is.
Yes, the movie is about this freshman named Alex who is in LA at college, away from Dallas, Texas, and he's homesick and doesn't have any friends. And he meets this girl named Maggie who's a sophomore and turns out to be his RA. He knows she's the RA, but she doesn't know that he's one of her kids. And they have a night together, and they end up, I won't spoil it, but they start a relationship, and it goes in many different directions. But it's a college love story.
It is. So that's how you describe it, a college love story. You wouldn't put a romantic comedy kind of type thing on it, or?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, you can definitely call it a romantic comedy. I think it's somewhat romantic and it's got funny parts, but I think a lot of times when I don't know, I've seen some people online saying this is not a comedy, and I'm mad that someone called it a comedy. So I try to be wary of people who think they're going into like an actual romantic comedy, because I think a lot of ways, like I was actually watching Lost in Translation the other day, and that movie is like the funniest movie ever to me, but it's labeled a drama.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really interesting. Like I think freshman year in a lot of ways is a drama too, but I don't know.
Oh yeah, it most definitely is. It walks a really, really lovely line, and that's what gives it its great personality. You know, it reminded, when I was watching it, it reminded me very much like the humor of kind of the Austen kind of type humor. I don't know if that is an inspiration to you, but it's that really deadpan. Flat's the wrong word, but you know what I mean. It's very straight.
Yes, unaffected.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that that Austen kind of type school? Is that something that appeals to you?
Yes, I for sure. I don't know. Yeah, of course. I'm trying to think of like a movie that I can.
Well, I
don't know. Like, yeah. What?
I keep thinking of the Duplass brothers and Who else? The names are escaping me now, but yeah, it's just that lovely, honest, authentic kind of voice of almost world weary observation, but very young and kind of energetic. So yeah,
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I love the Duplass brothers, and I think all of their movies are really, really funny, and they they do all different kinds of comedies so well too. Like they can nail the deadpan, but they also are just like so. They put like the situational comedy sometimes is incredible, and I don't. I mean, you can call some of the freshman year comedy situational comedy because it's different situations, I guess. But a lot of it is, I think. Uh, yeah, it's a subdued humor for sure. I always like subdued humor. I mean, like Lost in Translation is a perfect example of like a movie that I find so funny, even though it is like doesn't have any jokes really or any setups, but it's just a very funny view of the world.
Yeah, no, that's really true. That's a really great way of putting it. But just in terms of from script to screen with the movie, when you wrote the picture and what we actually get, was that right in your mind from the very beginning? Was it how you pictured it when you were writing the script?
Yes and no. I mean, the yes, everything. I mean, when I say no, I mean like it was so much better because I didn't realize the actors in the movie are just amazing and they elevated things so much. Like Dylan, who plays Maggie, Logan, who plays my roommate Sam, and the girl who plays my mom, Amy Landecker. Even my like everyone, literally everyone, was just so amazing, um, and they really loved like working with like the way that I write is like very very specific, but like I'll do a lot of likes and ums in the dialogue, but I'll tell them like I don't care where you say the likes and ums. I'm just telling you that it's harder for them to get out these words. But they liked having some freedom, but not that much freedom. Like there's a very specific thing that we're trying to say here with the script, but like how you get it out of your mouth is entirely up to you. And it was just like amazing to watch. Like Logan, like I did not realize how funny Logan would be as my roommate. Like those scenes crack me up still, and I think I thought that they were funny somewhat, but I always have the padding or like the armor of like this scene being real and realistic, so that if it's not that funny, it still feels like it's okay that it's not that funny. Do you know what I mean? But those scenes I think are genuinely so funny because he's so funny in them. And I feel that way with like Dylan too. Like some of the conversations that happen in the night that they spend together, I hope that they would be funny, but I was okay if they weren't, I guess. But Dylan is a very, very funny actress. And she really nailed some of the timing and the humor and found things that I didn't even know existed.
Well, the timing is great. And it's so tight, because there's so few people in the movie, and most of the scenes happen with, just two people and just,
Yeah.
Riffing off each other and that sort of thing. So tell me about what it was like on the set. So, I'm interested to know how many people were standing behind the camera, but I'm also really interested to know how you drew those performances out of the actors, and you get on set and say, how about this, how about that? Or was it really quite tightly constructed? It's like, I know you were saying, with the script, it's like, well, I don't care how you get the words out, but get the words out. But was it a little bit more tighter than that with the conceptual, this is where I'm going with the movie?
Yeah, there was a couple of things. So, well, to answer your question, people behind the camera weren't that many at all. Like there was not that many people on set. Like we got away with telling certain locations, like we're making a short film here, and there's just a couple people coming on. So we didn't have a lot of people on set. And like certain scenes, we literally just had camera, sound person, and whoever was acting in it. And then for the second part was just like how tight it was on set. We didn't have any money, so we had to hurry, and a lot of the locations we didn't pay for, so we were worried about cops like showing up. So we very much like it was tight in terms of like we need to get this shot in like one take or two takes. And a lot of times we got it in one because everyone was so darn talented. But like, yeah, I am very, 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 very specific. And like, I'm making a movie right now where I'm just like, the main thing that's scaring me is just like, will everyone be on the same page? Because something that I really care about is everyone making the same movie. And I think it's really, really, really challenging to do that. Like, I think that's all kind of in the casting, but it's very easy for someone to come on for a day or 2 days or even just a week, and like all of a sudden the movie feels like, oh wait, this is a different movie. And sometimes people are so charming and talented that they trick the director into thinking, oh my god, this is so amazing, so we're just going to go with it. But then you realize in the editing room, that was awesome, but it's just not the movie. Like, that just feels like a different thing. And I was very cognizant of that the whole time with freshman year. And I knew like Logan, Dylan, Amy, Olivia, like all these different actors who are in the movie, they all have very similar sensibilities and similar sensibilities to me. And I wasn't like, I just wanted who I wanted on set. And so it always felt like we were making the same movie, and every scene that we did, it like felt like, okay, this is the right sensibility, and we're not like no one's pushing too much, no one's it just felt like of the world. And like right now I'm making a movie where there's so many people saying, we need this person on set, we need this person on set, we need this person to, this is the huge name or whatever. And the thing that scares me the most about that is like, I don't know if that person is going to come in and be on the same page. So I really, really am very tight that way, I think. And like when I say I think when you're tight that way, it feels like you have so much freedom because you're all so focused on the game plan that like whatever you're feeling in the moment in those little tight quarters, it feels so inspired and so like specific and so full of feeling. And so that's like the one thing that I'm so proud of and happy with freshman year, and what I'm so scared about replicating with like my next movie.
Well, it's really interesting what you're saying about the being specific and everyone being kind of going in the same direction, because the film is really specific, like something like Lost in Translation or such. Every line is got a punchline almost to it, not as a gag or anything like that, but there's like a punctuation point at every point. So it's like everything just like bang, 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 next. So it flows really quite beautifully in that respect. But getting back to the cinematography and such, did you, with your cinematographer, I'm looking for the name.
Rachel,
Rachel,
Rachel, yeah.
Rachel Klein. With the cinematography, was that just when you were speaking to her, was it like, okay, this is what I want, or did she say, this is what I like, this is my style, how can it fit in with yours?
Well, so I think it was kind of a bit of both, but I really cared about her doing her thing, and like just before I met with her, I like stalked her on Instagram and saw her like her photography, and I went on her website, and I just loved her point of view, I guess, or her perspective and the way that she shoots things, like even just like stills of things. And so when I met with her and when she said yes to doing the movie, I was very much like always wanting her to lead the way, and like she's the director of photography, like that's her thing. And I was very, very particular about it sounds silly to say, but I'm very particular about how close a camera is, how like far away, and like also like whether or not we're a little bit shaky or we're a little tense or if we're locked off. So those things I really, really care about. But in terms of like colors, in terms of like how a shot is composed, I very much was like, I really want that to be totally you. And I don't even want her to feel like she has to think about like what my style is or what would best like please me or anything. I just wanted her to like articulate, because she knows, she heard me talk through each scene, and like from there it's like, okay, whatever you think in terms of it articulating these colors. Because the other thing is, in the movie, it's there's this scene where we talk about being colorblind, and I actually am colorblind, which
Me
is like,
too.
yes, amazing. But you like very, very rarely hear a director say that they're colorblind, because like a lot of directors care so much about color.
Yeah.
But when I told Rachel that I was colorblind, her eyes kind of perked up and she was like, okay, great. Because every DP wants to hear that. So yeah, so like color was definitely all after.
Well, it does. The whole style of the film is really great. It is, like I said, it is really lean, but very streamlined and very directional, and it propels itself forward really well in the editing and the photography and the writing and the performances, of course, as well. But so let's kind of go to the end of the movie. So the movie's in the can, you finished it, everyone's gone home, and you have this movie. Was there a plan with the movie? You like, did you have like backers that were saying, okay, the next stage is this and this, or was it much more freewheeling for you?
No, we always wanted to go to South by Southwest, and we ended up like having to shoot a little bit later than we thought. So we thought we weren't going to get into South by Southwest because it was so late in the game. And so we were kind of panicking the whole, like we wrapped filming and I went right to work like the next day, the same, like that night to start editing. And the date for the deadline for submitting to South by Southwest was something crazy, like a month later or something. And I'm also have like the biggest learning curve with editing because I've never edited before. And so I was trying really hard to get to that deadline, and we ended up asking for an extension. And so the whole focus for, not really, we didn't talk about it much before making the movie, but like as we were making the movie and we felt like confident about certain things with it, we were like, I think this could be a great movie at South by Southwest. And so we fortunately had some connections with the people working at South by Southwest who like let us submit a very, very like rough movie very, very late. And just luckily they saw, I think, the potential of what it could be. But I mean, when I showed the director of South by Southwest the movie, like when it was finished, she was like, this is an entirely different movie. But she liked it still, which was great.
Oh, well, look,
It was
go on.
it was just such a rough movie that we submitted. I'm so glad that they saw some potential.
Yeah, look, it's totally made for South by Southwest. I've been to South by a couple of times, and it's like right in the zone, which is why I was asking about Austin, with that Austin kind of feel.
Yes.
I think it's really just got that Austin feel to it, that South by type sensibility to it. But the film won the grand jury prize, right? At South by.
Yes, shockingly so. Yes.
Well, that was my question. When that all happened, did you feel the momentum? I guess it wasn't in the physical world, was it really? The event and such. So a different thing, which I'll ask you about.
Yeah, it happened in my room where like I wish I had more posters. Like it felt so not real because it was right in the middle of like, or right at the start of everything. Yeah. And they didn't tell us that they were announcing it, and I thought they had already announced it. And I literally woke up to an email or something. It just all felt like, what is happening right now?
Yeah.
Because it was right after it got canceled, and everyone was like, "Oh, we can't go." And so, yeah, there was no. I heard you say momentum. There's no momentum anywhere. It all felt very stilted and like so exciting when it happened, but like like who decided this? No one was there.
Yes, where?
Yeah.
No, it's a crazy time, as everyone says. But after that point, so you got the grand jury prize at South by, which is totally congratulations, because the competition's fucking stiff. It's like there's a lot.
Yeah, I mean, and they're amazing. I've seen all the movies, and I mean, every single movie is amazing. And so, yeah, I feel like the way people watch things a certain way on one given day is like, yeah, we'll go ahead. It's 3 jury members also.
Yeah.
It's like But that's the other thing, is it's not like this whole, there's an audience award that usually happens when everyone goes, but then for the award that I won, it was 3 people who watched the movie. Sorry,
That's all good.
it was 3 people who watched the movie and decided. So it feels like I felt very lucky that it happened, but it also was just every movie was amazing. It was awesome.
Yeah, no, it's the competition's stiff, and there's a lot of films. But when you were at South by, did you have was there like a structure behind you that was pushing the movie, like a sales agents or distributors or
Yeah,
agents
so
or anything like that, or did it all just happen?
no, so the getting into South by Southwest was just me and a couple people. Like it was very not under a system. But then when we got into South by Southwest, people were interested suddenly, and so we got a sales agent after we got into South by Southwest. And the sales agent at, which is ICM, and this girl named Jessica Lacey at ICM, who's amazing. And like it just felt so cool and lucky that she was the one that was going to be selling our movie. So when we went to South, or when it got canceled, it was like, what are we going to do? Like this sales became like really, really tricky, and people were losing a lot of money, obviously. So, but really when we won the award, winning an award always helps. So we got like super lucky there as well. We could say like, oh, they just won the award. And then IFC bought it, and it was like, everything felt surreal at that point. It was like, huh? Who? Like, are they sure? Are they positive?
Have they seen the movie?
Yes. Have they seen the movie? Are we talking about the same movie right now? Yeah.
And so what do you know for you, like after that point, did things really kind of accelerate for you and with your career and what you were doing, or were you still having to carve it out with a screwdriver in marble?
No, everything. I mean, I didn't have a career, and like I still don't have a career, but like yeah, as soon as that happens, when it sucks that we live in this world, but like when you win an award, all of a sudden it's like people are swarming who haven't even watched the movie. So like everything kind of happened all at once, and all I had been hoping for with freshman year was to get one opportunity from that, and it just so happened that the very like specific trajectory like led to all of these different things happening, and it was so overwhelming and amazing. But yeah, I mean, I had never done like a general Zoom or a general meeting, and like obviously it was actually really kind of lovely that the pandemic happened in terms of the meetings, because usually after a festival you all of a sudden have all these general meetings that you have to drive around town to go do, and I could do all of them on Zoom. So it was like kicking out like so many Zoom general meetings every day. And I think at some point I also realized like these general meetings are doing nothing, like they're just like, it felt like so awesome that people wanted to meet, but it was just so empty. Like it was like, there's no real reason we're meeting other than to like, you're doing your job, your 9-to-5 job right now. Like I have to meet with the person who won South by Southwest. And so then when I kind of clicked that like, oh, I can use this, I have other things that I've written, and I can start like pitching these things on these meetings. I started doing that, and yeah, everything has been amazing since. And I'm making a movie right now just because of a meeting that happened. So everything's been really, really great, and I feel super lucky.
So with the picture you're making now, did someone say, okay, here's the money, go and make a movie? You obviously had the idea, but did it, were things able to be triggered for you much easier and that sort of thing?
Yeah, there's different ways, but like I'm working on a couple of projects right now that all of them had different kind of starts. But the movie that I'm working on right now, I had an idea for a script that I've been working on for a few months, actually because some actor or an agent called me and said an actor wants to do something. And I was like, okay. And I had an idea, and I started writing. And then I met with this production company and this other actors. And I was so shocked that I was meeting with this person, and I'm such a big fan of this person that I all of a sudden just like pitched it to her. And so she loved it. And as soon as she said she loved it, she was like, "Can I read it?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll send it to you tomorrow." And I hadn't like even really started it. So I like wrote it all within like a week and kept saying like, "Oh, I just want to make sure it's perfect for you." And it probably ended up taking like 2 weeks to finish it and feel good about it. And then I sent it and they loved it. And they were like, "Well, let's work on, well, let's make tweaks. Let's work on it together." Cause this start a new production company that's amazing. And these two girls run it, and they're just wonderful people who are very collaborative. And we got a script to the point where we were fully in love with it and it felt like very airtight. And then we went out to go to buyers. And so then we ended up teaming up with like two financiers basically. And now they are financing the movie and we're in Pittsburgh trying to make the thing. So that's how that happened.
Yeah, look, it's really the process is different for everyone. But I'm just kind of wondering what I hate to talk about the plague, but with COVID and such, I, I guess like with the style of something like freshman year, which is really compact and very tight, small amount of people and that sort of thing. Is that the kind of approach that you're taking with the next film you're working on? And I'm wondering if your approach actually suits and a really stripped back approach really actually suits the kind of social environment we're living in right now.
Well, freshman year would have been an awesome movie to make during the pandemic. Unfortunately, like the movie I'm making right now is like a party movie with like tons of people. so I did not think at all, like I was just so excited that I could make a movie with actual money. So I was like, I'm going to put everybody in this movie. And I just have not at all done the same. I mean, I'll always have the same approach of like actually wanting to say something there's a lot of characters and it feels like more of an ensemble than freshman year. Although in some ways I think freshman year is a bit of but this one is very much about like, there are like probably like 7 characters that have meat on their bones. And yeah, I'll always write conversations and I'll always write very intimate scenes. But I wanted this movie to have money, and to get money, you have to have a nice hook. And the hook of this movie is that there's like a party starter. And so like there's fun sets and set pieces and fun things happening and dancing and all that stuff. So like it's not a good movie to film during the pandemic at all.
I was just thinking that with the new picture and from freshman year, are you taking anything from the cast and the crew from freshman year? Are you building up your own little backstage ensemble, do you think?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few here and there, but that's a tough question. The answer, to be frank, is no. There's not a lot of like overlap. Like I would love, honestly, the honest answer is I did not know a lot of people who made freshman year. Like I showed up to set. A lot of the people were there because Jay Duplass, the person who helped me make the movie, his name means a lot to indie filmmakers. And so I was able to get a lot of awesome professional people to come work on it who I didn't know and who I met on day one of shooting. And I loved working with them and they're amazing, obviously. But the people that I'm working with now with this new movie have a lot of people that they love. And they're like, I really want you to meet my person. And meeting those people, I've fallen in love with them. And I know that the people that I'm working with will be really happy because they know each other. And it's kind of like feel like I'm being drafted into this new family of sorts. But yeah, the true answer is no. There's not much carryover from freshman year.
Being part of a new family, so to speak, you've like with freshman year, and it's not about control or anything like that, but you would have been like the centrifuge around, where everything orbits around, but in a different kind of new kind of world for you with a different kind of movie and a different kind of money and flow. Are you finding that kind of quite, not a frightening experience necessarily, but is there a different, what's the change in dynamic, I suppose is the question for you?
You're having to here. I'm gonna change the audio. Tell me if this is bad audio. I just want to charge my phone. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah. That's fine.
Oh, now I can't hear you. Wait, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay, I can hear you too. Okay, great.
Cool.
So yeah, everything changes because you have. I think the actual like I won't say how much freshman year was or how much this
Yeah,
movie is, but
I'm interested in a movie.
the the difference is just like astonishing, like how different it all is in terms of the money that we have and the amount of people that like are on set and the amount of people that have to clear you to make decisions. Like I was the casting director for, I mean, like if we're talking about the credits, like I could have credited myself as the casting director, but it's like, no, of course I was the casting director because we didn't have money for any of those things. But I've had to like learn how to work with a casting director, and like I really, really care about my cast. And um, fortunately, I'm working with this person named Angela Demo, who is the best person in the entire world, and it's been so great. But like, there is a lot of letting go that I've had to do with like I don't have. I mean, you said it's not about control because you're being nice, but like a lot of it is like you're just like wanting to collapse things. And I know a lot of people say, "Oh, but don't you want those other perspectives?" And I'm kind of like, sometimes I do, but like even when other people are working, you're trying to communicate what you want and letting them do their thing, because that's the other thing is I always want people, I know I don't have any sort of like talent in these arenas, but I always want to do my best to communicate what I am envisioning, what I want, so that like they can do their thing and do what they're talented at, but know like what the kind of goal is here. And it's just the main difference is you have to explain it so much more, and you have to like also save it and realize like some people don't even need to know. Like there are certain people, I think I was, when the financiers came or got involved, I was obsessed. There's a lot of cooks in the kitchen in terms of like the people, there's a lot of different people giving money to this movie. And I think I got obsessed with like every single person who's giving money, like to understand what we're going for and what this movie's going to be and this and that. But these people, they don't work like that. Like they're thinking about numbers and they're thinking about names and they're thinking about what the market is, and they don't want to hear like about my themes in my movie. They're like, great, awesome, like let's talk about what matters. And so I think that's been the thing I've learned the most is like just uh trusting that certain people don't need to know everything, because there's so many different people working, and the people who you really need to know, like they'll find it.
That's a really interesting observation. I haven't really heard anyone have, speak about it, the experience like that. And I guess a lot of it really depends as you go through, as you keep making movies and such, the people that you surround yourself with, like producers or such that you might take with you, to who that you can trust, that they can do that kind of talking and language and
Right.
your feelings and channel your vision without you having to do it. It must be incredibly tiring and confusing and demanding at times as well. I'd be thinking.
Yeah, it's incredibly challenging because like in the a producer's job is so difficult. Like the producer I'm working close with is so amazing at going in and out of like, she's someone who gave me all of these amazing script notes, and then an hour later she's in a budget meeting where she's just strictly talking about numbers and having to like know exactly how to bridge the gap between these people who are just thinking about money and like what she's thinking about and like going into that space. But then and then an hour later she's going and talking about casting with me. So it's like I can't believe how amazing she is at what she does. But there are times too when I'll tell her like, I think you're in money mode right now, and I need you to come here, so that like, because she there's no way that she's not going to get caught up in like, oh, but they're saying that we need this person to be in this role, and I'm like, we don't need that person to get in this role. We can fight a little bit harder for like who we want. um but um but a lot of like what you want is just like a good listener and like someone who you feel comfortable saying that to.
Yeah.
um but yeah, it's tricky. A lot of people with different motives.
Yeah, it's yeah, that must be really fascinating. And I guess some are more on the surface than others as well in the motives. But I'm wondering with moving into like a bigger budget film with more people and more expectation as well, I'd be guessing, are they leaving your script alone, or are they pushing it in? Are they pushing that as well? Do they have their nose in there?
Um, you know, they are, but like like each day that we're shooting is very, very, very expensive. So if right now, say for instance, we have like a bit of a budget problem, the easiest thing in their mind to come after is days. And when you say like we need to cut a day, I don't think certain people realize that, okay, then I have to cut because I don't want to just squeeze all of this into one day when they think that you probably can. And so I'm saying, you're not asking me to just cut a day, you're asking me to cut a large chunk of the script. And they're like, well, can you? And I'm like, well, no, I don't want to. So, so it's things like that that I wouldn't say they're leaving my script alone by any means, but they're great to work with in terms of respecting that there's certain things that I don't want to do, but also knowing that I'm super realistic about what we can do and what we can't. And like, I come from the last movie that I made was like for nothing. And so they know that I can get away with like cutting certain things or not needing this many extras or that sort of thing. And I think that's why they like working with an indie person, like a true indie director.
And going to Jade, back to Jade Duplass. How did, is he involved in this picture as well, the new one?
No, he's not. He's a busy, busy, busy guy. He is working on two amazing projects right now, but I just finished another one, and so he's not. I would love him to, but there's another thing that we are working on now. So we are working together, but not on this one.
How many projects have you got on the go? Have you got three or four, or
Too many. um, there are, and you never know how many are going to get made, but like there are 6 projects that I'm working on, and like 4 that feel like they're the ball's really rolling.
yeah.
But yeah, it's too many.
Yeah, look, I generally find it's 10 ideas going, one sticks, but you just got to have them all rolling along. And
Right.
yeah. So, in terms of your what you learned from freshman year and moving forward, is there anything you think that you would approach differently from an early point in your career to move forward, or is everything you're just taking it as it comes and we'll see what's next?
No, I mean, I'm trying to I learn so much every day, and I learned so much making freshman year. So like with this movie, I'm looking at some of like I would actually take notes like when I was editing the movie and was just thinking about how awful certain things were. I would literally take notes and be like, remember, next time you're doing this, don't do this. And I've been looking at those things and really trying to like take with me certain things that like I'll tell everyone who's like trying to make a movie, which is there's like certain things that I didn't realize were important, obviously. And I'm trying to make those things happen, even though they are extra. It's extra work, but it's worth it.
Yeah, it is really interesting when you look back at things in retrospect. If only I'd done that, or do you find that like a painter, for instance, is the painting ever finished with something like freshman year? Is the painting ever finished, or do you look at it and think, oh, if only I'd just done this?
No, I think the paintings are finished. Yeah, I think a lot of artists are not like that. Like they always want to tweak things and they always want to. But I'm very much like freshman year is everything that it could be and everything that it is, and I'm so happy with it. And that doesn't mean I can take every single thing that I learned, like lots and lots of lessons, like on my next thing. but that just means that this thing is going to be the best that it can be. But there's really nothing in freshman year that I would look at or think about, and I'm just like, oh God, I really wish I would have changed this. And a lot of that has to do with the fact that I edited the movie, I think. So there's really just nothing, and I don't have that whole thing too, where I'm kinder to myself than most people are. Maybe it's a fault, but like, I think a lot of people, especially, I mean, it's been about a year now since the movie. I mean, not a year, but a year since I made it, at least. And I don't look at it and cringe, you know? Like, I think a lot of people, when there's space away, and maybe I will in 10 years, who knows? But like, I think I'll be kinder to myself than to know, like, oh my God, I worked so hard to make that happen. And like, yeah, it's not perfect and it's not like a masterpiece, but it's everything that I put into it, I'm so proud of and happy with. And I think it really has something that it wants to say, and I'm like proud of that too. And whether it or not it lands with every single person, I hope I'll get better and better at that sort of thing. But when it comes to like judging myself or like being so judgmental of a thing, I try to watch every movie with a lot of kindness.
Well,
So yeah.
Look, you should be very proud of it. There's no lumps in it. It's not clunky or lumpy in any way. You know, it does flow beautifully. The characters look like they really relate to each other. Whether they're getting on with each other or not is a whole other thing. But the characters really look like they work. And there's such a beautiful authenticity and honesty about the film, and simplicity about the film as well, which you should be very proud of. So look,
thank you so much.
Yeah, congratulations on the film. It suits what we're doing perfectly with the film festival. Thank you for the time that you spent talking. Of
course.
It's been really super enjoyable. I wish we could do it over a beer, to be honest with you, but look, you know,
yeah, me too.
That's another world.
I really, really, really appreciate all of your amazing questions, and thank you so much for saying the things that you've said. And I'm so glad that it fits well with what you're doing, because I think what you're doing is so awesome.
Thank you. It's just perfect. But Cooper, thank you for the time, and for everyone, really give freshman year a go. It's totally worth it. Ultimately, you know, it's such a rewarding and enjoyable film. So thanks, Cooper, and best of luck with the film into the future and what you're doing now, your new picture as well.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Thank you.
It's a real pleasure. See ya. Bye for now.
Richard, thank you so